Police Department?
Yes, I just saw someone jump out of their window out of probably the 17th, 19th floor of the University Club Tower apartments at 17th and Denver.
The name of that place is University
Club. The glass broke and he fell down.
Okay, I'll
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17th floor.
Wow, 17th floor. All right, sir. We got help on the way then.
All right, thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
One-third of the world's female prison population is in America.
I shot my husband. I'm in here for shooting my husband.
30,000 of them are serving long sentences for murder.
I pushed him against the wall and he... Oh my God.
It's either about power, money, sex, or abuse.
I went in and shot him and left again.
You can't tell me that I would kill a man in the only carpeted room in the house. I mean, come on, I'm a woman.
Unlike men, female killers tend to know their victims. They're usually their partners or loved ones.
I did not murder him. I loved him.
So what pushes ordinary women to commit the ultimate act of violence?
All it takes is one time for you to lose control of your emotions and something bad can happen.
How does a moment of madness become murder?
I had blood just all over me. Yeah, I beat her to death.
Some days it feels like a million years ago, and you feel like this part of your life has been your whole life, because it's a whole nother world. I mean, you have to be a whole nother person in here. A whole nother person.
Amber Hilberling is serving a 25-year sentence for murdering her husband.
I think about Josh every day. He was charming and irritating and smart and funny and annoying, and he was a good man. He was all these things that I'm not, and I'm all these things he wasn't, and we complimented each other, even though we drove each other crazy because of it.
It was a toxic love. It was a dangerous love, but it was love.
We weren't blind to the fact that we probably shouldn't be together. I mean, we talked about it often, but you can't help who you love.
As soon as she got pregnant, Amber became a totally different girl. All of the childish things stopped. And sadly, for Josh, they didn't.
When Amber was 19, a year after getting married, she and Josh moved into a temporary apartment in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
We were in Tulsa because he had gotten kicked out of the Air Force for drug abuse, and he just got back into the old stuff. I mean, he started doing drugs again. He started wanting to sell drugs again, and I was just sad and disappointed and angry, and that caused for the fighting and the, everything that happened that shouldn't have happened.
The glass broke and he fell down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17th floor.
I got a call of a possible DOA, which is dead on arrival. We didn't know if we had a suicide or an accident or exactly what had happened.
It was a domestic case. It was a falling case from a very high distance, and you don't see that very often.
I got here, I got out of my car, was directed to the 8th floor parking level.
When somebody falls from that far, he's really broken. They just look like clothes on the ground. But you could tell that was a human being at one time, and that kind of makes an impression upon you. The crime scene was up on the 25th floor, so we had to ride the elevator and go up. The apartment, as I walked in the door, struck me as very clean, not in disarray at all. Everything seemed to be in order, but as you walk through the corridor to get into the apartment was a duffel bag, and that struck me as odd. That's the only thing that was really out of place, other than as you walked in, you could see a window that obviously had been broke. I didn't spend a lot of time there because I don't like heights, but when I looked out the window, you could tell that it was a long distance and that Mr. Hilberling had a little bit of time to think about what the hell was going to happen to him down there when he landed.
At the scene, police found Josh's wife, Amber. She'd already made a phone call to her grandmother.
Amber was standing over there, and when she seen me, she grabbed a hold of me and said, "Grandma, he's dead." And she said, and I pushed him, and I said, "Do what?"
Well, Amber Hilberling was going to be the focal point of our investigation, one way or the other, as a witness or a suspect. I did learn early on that there was some allegation that she was saying she pushed him.
Amber and her grandmother were driven to Tulsa Police Station to make a statement.
They put me in the front seat. I wasn't under arrest. And let my grandma come and sit in the interview room. Of course, I thought they were just being the good guys and wanted the truth.
This is the interview room that I put Amber and her grandma in when we got down here.
What happened in that room over the next 62 minutes would change the course of Amber Hilberling's life.
This is a room where we can sit, we can watch on television monitors, we can observe the people in the rooms to make sure that they don't need any relief break or anything to drink or something like that. We can kind of watch them and listen to them.
All I kept seeing, I just held his broken body.
While this was going on, I was just writing my reports and started overhearing some of this stuff and had the recorder turned on so we could start recording the information that she was saying.
At least if I can go back and take back the push, at least I can save him.
The push?
The push, I pushed him against the wall and he, oh my God.
Many times in that room, when we ask questions, we get just bold-faced lies. But when you're talking to your grandmother, you can pretty much think you're getting true stuff.
I killed him.
Stop talking like that.
That is probably the most truthful that I've seen anybody be in that room.
He was messing with the TV right here, and the window's right here, and I pushed him and he fell into the window and fell. Oh God.
In my mind, it turned from an accidental falling out a window or a suicide attempt to an actual murder investigation. Right when I got there and people said, she said this, I pushed him out the window.
Amber, quit saying you pushed him out the window.
And the grandmother saying, watch what you're saying, is a big part of that.
Amber, he's in God's hands right now.
The part that I blame myself is I couldn't save her from the hell that she's went through.
I'm so sorry.
I cannot get past her. Grandma, help me. Grandma, take me home. That will always stick with me because Grandma couldn't take her home.
Throughout their conversation, Amber and her grandmother were unaware they were being recorded.
God, why did I do that?
I was angry that you could do that to somebody. You're supposed to be read your rights in America. You have the right to this and the right to this and right. They didn't do any of that.
I just want to go back. Please, I just want to go back and just not Not push him, just catch him, something.
I'm in shock, and I'm going back and forth in my mind between this is what just happened, and this is why, and this is what's gonna happen afterwards. And I mean, all these things are kind of coming out of my mouth at once.
When they come in, say, I don't want to say nothing till my attorney gets here.
If you have a camera in front of you with a blinking light on, you assume that it's recording. But if it's a hidden camera and you don't know what's there, it's hidden for a reason.
We have to do what we have to do. The law allows us to do that. We did it.
I just want to be with Josh.
Something happened in that room where he ended up dead. And she caused that.
Bombshell tonight. Witnesses say they see 23-year-old Josh Hilberling fall from the couple's high-rise. 25 stories to his death. But tonight, cops say it was no accident. There was no fall. His new bride pushed him to his death.
In the year following Josh Hilberling's death, a media frenzy engulfed the prime suspect, his wife, Amber.
What a gorgeous couple. They had everything to live for, and she is 7 months pregnant. But his family is now saying that she was a domestic abuser against him and that she pushed him.
America's about catching headlines. It's not about the truth. No one wants the truth. They want a story.
What we've got evidence of is that she was into domestic violence.
News outlets started to expose the details of a relationship that wasn't as perfect as it seemed.
A protective order was filed against the wife by the husband just weeks before he fell to his death.
It's very unusual to see a man claim he is being abused.
They painted me as some sort of aggressor that Josh had fear of in the past, but the people didn't see the police reports of my injuries and my fear and his abuse.
There was a time when we flew her home. They had gotten in a fight. He had squeezed her breasts trying to break her implants. He even said that on the police report, and when she got home, she still had red marks on her breast. You know, there had to be some force. He's certainly not going to say it was 100% one-sided, but there are certainly enough evidence that he was the instigator on numerous occasions.
Amber was painted as like a horrible, spoiled, rich spouse abuser. Josh was painted as a military hero. He got kicked out of the military for manufacturing drugs, and no one knows that. When I tell people he got kicked out within 9 months of serving, they're like, oh, really? I didn't know that. Yeah, you want to see the paper? It's right here. Right here. He gave this to me. It's right here. No one knows that. They would put Josh's uniform picture up, and they'd put Amber in a white shirt, accidentally pulling her jacket back, and they're like, look, she's trying to show cleavage. Really? That was one of the stories in the news, that Amber wasn't believable because she was fake. Amber had breast implants, so what?
If I didn't dress up enough for court, then I was trashy and obviously guilty. And if I did, then I was some hoity-toity, snooty, rich girl that had no remorse for her situation and dared to do her hair.
I have no problem telling you when Amber's wrong. And she has done some stupid stuff, but she wasn't a murderer.
For Amber to avoid a murder conviction, she had to convince the jury she was acting in self-defense.
It was the same weekend as my dad's wedding, so that's where the big fight came in, is because he, at the last minute, opted out of going to my dad's wedding and said he was going to Tennessee with all of his friends, some concert tour or something, but his intention was to go sell pills.
Earlier that morning, Josh had already broken a window in the flat.
He threw a laundry basket at it because he was mad because I was taking my dirty clothes and leaving his. And our argument just escalated from there, and we started pushing each other back and forth. He grabbed my shoulder. There were even pictures of the bruising. He was digging his hand into me. And when I pushed him off, and that's where the scratch came from. And he fell back, hit the wall or something, and then I was standing 2 or 3 feet away, and it all happened so fast that I remember pushing him back off of me, and then all of a sudden I remember looking at a broken window. And there's no way to explain how your mind tries to piece that together. And I ran to the window just in time to see him hit the concrete. And I ran out the door. All I could think was I have to get there. I didn't even know what floor it was. I remember kissing his cheek. That was already turning blue.
In April 2013, a jury found Amber Hilberling guilty of second-degree murder.
I could see that if an accident happens, that there's going to be payment to some degree. But murder? Did she push him? Yes. Did she mean to? No. Does anyone think in a million years you're going to fall out of a window? No. And if everyone's really honest with themselves, I guarantee you they've been in a push and shove with someone they love at some point. People do it. It's emotional. How do you change emotion?
Now aged 24, Amber has spent 3 years in a medium security prison in the heart of Oklahoma.
You have to build walls up around your heart, around your soul, around everything that matters to you, and live in a shell outside of all of that to survive this. Showing vulnerability in this type of place, it only gives people room to prey on you, more or less. So to avoid that, you kind of have to put air in your chest and walk around like you got this when you really don't got this.
Unlike male murderers, most women who kill don't have criminal histories. It's estimated between 40 and 80% of female murderers were acting in self-defense at the time. New Mexico has one of the highest rates of domestic abuse and violent crime in the United States.
We're all here because we made a mistake, and we have to live with it. My mistake was attempted murder. My husband. If I could go back and do it again, no, it wouldn't happen. Tempers wouldn't be lost, and I would have walked away, because that would have been much easier to do. And I never would have been inside a prison. And I was 49 years old when I was arrested. I'll be 58 when I walk out the door in December. That's a long time to spend in prison thinking about a mistake.
I shot my husband. I'm in here for shooting my husband. For abusing my kids. So.
Did he die?
Yes. Yes, that's why I got 20 years. It's like I was in prison at home and I came to prison to be free. That's pretty much the way my life was in that marriage. And I was in that marriage for 17 years. And I took a lot of stuff, but he drew the line when he harmed my babies. So, and I shot him with the gun. The only thing that I can say that my time has done is made me a stronger woman. And it's like, I know now not to have to depend on a man, you know what I mean? Now I can depend on myself.
One thing I've noticed from talking to many, many women and hearing their stories is they were beaten down. They got so far down that they didn't know how to get back up again. Or they didn't think that there was anybody caring enough to get back up for until they realized that it was themselves.
Women almost never kill a stranger. In 99.999% of the time, the woman has a relationship with the victim.
But women's victims aren't always their husbands or boyfriends. Patricia Ignasio is serving 15 years for murdering her cousin.
Every day I think about it, you know what I mean? Like, was I really capable of doing it? Or was I not, you know what I mean? Or was it just something that came out of my anger of everything?
Patricia was brought up in the Navajo Nation, the largest Native American reservation. It's also one of the most deprived parts of the country.
I really don't remember my mom because she was an alcoholic. And she wasn't really there for me when I was growing up. So I didn't have no particular home. I was raised just among like different families. I was basically raised more into the system.
When Patricia was 19, she met her husband and had 3 children in as many years.
It was an abusive relationship, fighting and arguing, drinking, and then I had my kids, so I was paying more attention to my kids than to him, you know what I mean? So he would get mad.
She lived in a tent for almost a year, and the kids were just outside wandering around. And that's when the school called social service in, so the kids got picked up.
When she lost her kids, Patricia's life spiraled further out of control. She was arrested for being drunk and getting into fights.
I spent 21 days in county, and that same day when it happened, I just got out of county that morning. I just started drinking, hanging out, started getting high. And from then on, like, I guess like my life was going too fast.
After leaving jail, Patricia went drinking with her cousin, Irene Armenta.
All I seen her was just a person I could just drink with. I just wanted to just drink and just bounce, like, you know what I mean? We didn't have nothing in common. The only thing that we had in common was the fact that she knew my family, and that was it, you know what I mean?
Just 6 hours after Patricia and Irene met, police were called to the scene of a brutal attack.
And this is the stone. What it actually is a piece of concrete. I took it off her head, turned it upside down to get a picture to see, and right now you can still see that there's some stains right here that are somewhat brown. That particular night, of course, it was bright red. This area here looks something like a tooth, kind of sharp. This was actually stuck into her skull. Somewhere about in here, there was actually an indentation in the skull where it had been embedded. The Navajo reservation is dry, meaning alcohol is not available on the reservation. That doesn't stop somebody from coming to a border town such as Farmington, for example, and buying alcohol and taking it back.
In November 2008, crime scene investigator Terry Eagle was called out to an area popular with street drinkers, following the discovery of a body.
Coming back to a scene like this after spending basically all night here is almost just a deja vu.
I've dealt with a lot of homicides in my career, and that one was pretty brutal.
Just the degree of injury that the body had sustained, you could tell somebody was really upset.
Judging by what I see in this area and by the fact that blood was located 16 feet away from where she was laying, this was something akin to a boxing match where it starts and stops, eventually ends up here. And as you can tell looking around today, there are many pieces of concrete of various sizes. In this case, Patricia Ignasio picks one up and literally, using blunt force, just beat Irene Newman's head in multiple blows. And that was indicated by the amount of blood spatter that was located around the ground area here. We found it on leaves and sticks, and we even found blood as far away as on the corner of this fence over here at this point.
Within hours, police received an anonymous tip about a woman who'd been involved in a fight. Her name was Patricia Ignasio.
We had an argument. She went and told me that I was a bad mother, that I didn't even know how to take care of my kids. I think that's what got me mad. She was telling me that I was worthless, that I wasn't capable of loving, caring, or supporting my own kids, you know what I mean? And I don't know, it just got to the point where we just started shoving, pushing. We started hitting each other and whatever, you know what I mean? I think everything with my family, with my kids' dad, with my kids, it just all surfaced. And then I was on top of her, hitting her. I had blood just all over me. Yeah, I beat her to death, you know what I mean?
Patricia pled guilty to second-degree murder and was sentenced to 15 years in prison.
I live with it constantly glued on me every day. If I could, I would trade a spot with her and she would still be here. All the things that she's missing out on is the same thing that I'm missing out on too. I missed out on 8 years of my kids' life.
Since she went to prison, Patricia's friend Louise has taken care of her children.
For so long, I wanted to take the kids away from her because the kids were going through a lot. And I thought, I can give them a better life and a better home. They deserve something better.
I'm really proud of my children because they're way different than I am. They're much smarter. They're really caring. I'm happy that they're being loved, being cared for. And with my friend having them, it makes me feel like I've done something positive with my life.
Patricia is due to be released in 6 years. She could then apply for guardianship of her children.
I would love to get to know them, but that doesn't mean I'm going to take them from my friend. I'm just going to ask them just one time if they want to live with me, they could, but I'm not going to force them. And if they want to stay with my friend, I understand, because that's what they know.
Patricia's situation is not unusual. 7 out of 10 women in American prisons have children on the outside. In Oklahoma, Amber Hilberling gave birth to her son Levi just 2 months after being arrested for murdering her husband.
You want to go cook, Levi? Let's go cook. Yay! Are you going to make me a good lunch?
Now nearly 5 years old, Levi Hilberling lives with his grandmother, Rhonda.
It's smoking.
Good. That means it's getting ready. It's getting hot.
Baby, I'm making a butter mouth. Me.
Don't lick the jar this time. He's asked to call me Mom, and he wants to know why he can't call me Mom. And it's out of respect for Amber right now. It's a tough call. I mean, I haven't spoke to Amber about him saying that. She gets her feelings hurt so easy over little things because I'm getting the joy of raising him and she doesn't get that opportunity, so.
Baby, now can we do that?
Nope, not until it starts boiling. Then you can put it in, but we're gonna wait till it bubbles. Look, again, look.
She resents me a little bit for it, and I resent her a little bit for it, but we understand that that's natural. Or when Levi was a little bit younger, he'd come in here for a visit, and if he fell and scraped his knee or something, he ran to her. And that's, that's like a slap in the face, a stab in the heart.
I know. What do you want for your birthday? Tell me what you want for your birthday. Okay, I'm not gonna get you anything. Levi started asking literally about 6 to 7 weeks ago for the first time, did my big daddy die? And I said yes, and he said, out of a window? And I said, yes. And he goes, well, is he in heaven? Yes. So yeah, the questions are starting to come. And this is where it's fixing to get really difficult. One of the things I wanted to talk to you about, so what are you comfortable with when he starts asking more questions? I mean, what are we gonna do?
I don't know. I mean, how?
I mean, he has already said that it was an accident and that he fell from the window. I mean,
I'm never going to lie to him, ever. I'm never going to lie to him, and I always want to be upfront.
We've always thought if he asks a question, to answer the question.
But the counselor also told me not to
give extra information.
Not to give any extra.
Yeah.
I'll find out everything with time, when it's time.
Children are naive, but they're not dumb. I've talked to a lot of the women in here, both women that had sugar-coated their situation for their children, thinking that they were protecting them, and I've talked to women that have been upfront and honest from a very early age, and every single time, the answer was always honesty.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
It's Levi's 5th birthday. Though he visits Amber regularly, his father's family has cut off almost all ties.
Any child who has to grow up without a father, it's gonna be rough in the first place. And what's gonna happen? Where's life gonna take Levi, Is he gonna be able to deal with these emotions? What's gonna happen when he's 16 and, has anger towards his parents for everything that happened?
He's at that age now where he's asking me on the phone when I can go to the beach with him and when I'm coming home from work, and those things are hard, and I swallow it down and I try to suffice him with whatever answer I can come up with at the time, and then I go to my room and I cry for the rest of the night because it's just not fair.
Amber's long sentence is a result of being unable to persuade the jury she was acting in self-defense. It's such a common claim that some female killers use it to hide the truth.
We don't expect women to kill. And we often assume that if a woman kills, it somehow is the victim's fault. If the victim is a man, we assume that the man was abusive in some way, or he has done something to bring this out. We don't think women have this in them.
At around the time Amber was arrested in the neighboring state of Texas, another woman found her life spiraling out of control. Ana Trujillo was a 45-year-old mother of two and a former executive at Coca-Cola.
When you look at the house Anna was living in, and you realize that within a matter of 4 years she was homeless, it's really an illustration of how quickly her life plummeted and how far.
In 2009, Anna's second marriage fell apart, and she moved to downtown Houston.
After Anna moved to Houston, she started going man to man, and she was using the men for money. They were paying her rent, they were giving her cash. She had really become dependent on her sexuality.
In 2012, Anna met 59-year-old Stefan Anderson. Within weeks, she'd moved into his apartment.
He was very intelligent, very charming. He seemed to be a very good person. And he completely fell in love with me. I always have loved shoes. And Stefan had a shoe fetish. He liked me wearing heels. That was his thing. He didn't ask for a lot of things, and I loved pleasing him.
It was a look that she was cultivating. It was that sexy Latina, the fun girl out on the town.
But things were about to take a turn for the worse. After a night out, Anna and Stefan had an argument that started in the back seat of a taxi.
Are you reporting an assault, ma'am?
Yes, he assaulted me. I hit him with my shoe and he's bleeding. He started beating me up.
When Houston police received Anna Trujillo's desperate 911 call, they raced to her boyfriend's high-rise condo and walked into a slaughterhouse.
Murder by stiletto. Anna Trujillo faces life in prison after a Houston jury found her guilty of killing her boyfriend with a blue high heel. Dubbed the stiletto murder, prosecutors allege Trujillo hit Dr. Stefan Anderson in the head 25 times with her 5.5-inch heels. Trujillo claims self-defense.
In April 2014, 45-year-old Anna Trujillo stood trial for first-degree murder.
It was a very dramatic trial because the crime was a dramatic crime. At the center of this case, from the beginning to the end, was that high heel shoe.
I think female defendants and female murderers are much harder to prosecute because society doesn't want to believe that they are the aggressor. And then what happens usually happens behind closed doors, and it is hard to know the dynamics of every intimate relationship.
There's a passage.
Anna, from the moment she was interviewed by police, always claimed to be a victim of domestic violence.
And he grabbed me, and he wouldn't let me go, and he started wrestling with me. And then he got on top of me, and I couldn't breathe, and I was suffocating.
She was claiming that Dr. Anderson had abused her, both physically, mentally, and emotionally, and that she finally had to kill him in self-defense.
It is always going to be the focus of the trial, that it was either self-defense or sudden passion, because that's typically what it very often is.
As the only eyewitness in the case, everything rested on whether the jury believed Anna Trujillo's version of what happened that night.
I went upstairs, and when he came in, he was upset. And then he saw the suitcases, and he goes, "Where are you going?" And I was like, "I'm going to go see my family in the morning. We discussed this, remember? I'm just going, and you're gonna come with me next week." And he became furious. He changed completely, like he wasn't himself anymore. And I really got afraid. At that point, he started to slam me against the wall. He took my hands, was beating them against the wall.
A 5-year-old with common sense could have seen what happened. He confronted her and was grabbing her by the shoulders.
As he put his hands on me, I was falling back. And I think that's when I grabbed a hold of his hair or something.
If you get on YouTube or something, watch girl fights, that's what they always do. They go for the hair.
We were rolling around and he was on top of me and I couldn't breathe and he was suffocating me and he wouldn't let me go and I was just saying, "Please let me go." And I reached over and I found the shoe and he was on top of me and I was just hitting him with the shoe however I could. And I was going, "Please get off of me." And I was just crying. I was like, "Please." And he was just like laughing. It didn't even seem like it was fazing him.
She said that she was suffocating and she used whatever weapon was at hand. It was an obvious case of sudden passion. It was a fight gone bad.
We know that the altercation, the argument happened at 2:13, and
The challenge for the prosecution was disproving Anna's testimony that she acted in self-defense.
We as prosecutors don't always have this great forensic evidence that television tells us that we should have. And quite frankly, juries come to the courthouse expecting to have a CSI effect. And Chris Duncan gave us the CSI effect.
When blood travels, it travels in a sphere. And when it lands on a surface, it collapses. And so we can see, because of the shape of the stain on the surface, what direction it was traveling and actually what angle it was traveling. So when we look at the bloodstains on the wall, the stains are circular in nature, which indicates that they impacted at a 90-degree angle. Everything just says the complainant was on the ground, close to the carpeted surface. There was nothing in between him and the carpet when he was being attacked.
It was a game changer for us. He could tell us the story of what happened in that apartment.
Pants that we've documented in State's Exhibit number 150 and 151 are the jeans worn by Ms. Trujillo the night of the incident. What these jeans tell us is that she is straddling the complainant where the blood was on him, which is around the head and on the chest. This blood is saturated over time on the insides of the thighs. And I believe that blows were imparted onto the complainant while she was on top of him with his head between her thighs.
You know what's great? Is you can base your verdict, your sole verdict, on science. You know from the crime scene that he was on the ground as all of the strikes, all 25 plus strikes, were yielded by her. They took an x-ray of the actual stiletto heel, and it was quite powerful because you see that it was actually a metal rod. It was basically the equivalent of an ice pick.
We believe, based on when we recovered the shoe, that she was actually holding it like this, and that she came down on his head and his arms and his chest this way, and that she continued to strike him over 30 times in the head while he laid there defenseless.
After a 2-week trial, the jury took just 4 hours to return their verdict.
Mr. Trujillo, please stand. We, the jury, find the defendant, Anna Trujillo, also known as Anna Fox, guilty of murder as charged in the indictment, signed foreman of the jury.
They gave me life.
So when are you due for parole?
In 30 years. It's not the sentence or the time, it's that they have put me as a murderer. They convicted me and said that I murdered him. I did not murder him. I loved him. And I would never hurt him, despite of what it says or what everyone says. It's just say so. They just want to discredit me, and they just want to make me the person that I'm not.
Anna Trujillo was not a victim of domestic violence. Anna Trujillo was not a victim of anything. And my fear was that she was going to set all victims of domestic violence back, and that people may not believe a woman that comes forward and says that.
The claim of self-defense was also rejected in the case of Amber Hilberling, who pushed her husband out of a window to his death. Her sentence runs till 2036.
I've never tried to make it sound like he's just the big bad wolf and I'm Little Red Riding Hood that's running for her life. It wasn't like that. We were both young and we were both selfish in our emotions because we were young, and I think that if it would have happened later on in life when we were both a little bit more grown up, then yeah, I think it would have been, it would have been happily ever after.
For the last 2 years, Amber's been in a relationship with someone new.
Patricia, she is my girlfriend. We've been together for 2 years. She's taught me more in 2 years than I've learned in my entire incarceration. I mean, she's somebody that, you know, I mean, I know on a personal, intimate level, and she's the only person that knows any of this stuff that I talk about. You know, it's that one person that can see you cry, and it's not, you know, it's not shameful.
The female prison population in America is 8 times larger today than it was 35 years ago, far outstripping the increase in the male population.
I was really shocked when I came because there is so much tragedy and drama and stuff that, you know, women do go through. And it's like, I know if I would have done a different route, I would have been better off.
There's not a woman here who doesn't regret actions. Whether it's that they did something cold-bloodedly and lost their children because of it, or because they hurt somebody, or because they hurt themselves. They have to live with the regret. There's a lot of really, really good women in here. I'm not saying there's not bad too, but there's a lot of really good women in here who deserve a second chance.
Of the 15,000 murders that happen in America each year, 1 in 10 are committed by women.
I shot my husband. I'm in here for shooting my husband.
Most of these cases are the result of drink and drugs, mental illness, or marital abuse.
I pushed him against the wall and he... Oh my God!
But there's a certain breed of murderess who's more devious and unusual than the rest.
Everyone knows I would never hurt that man in any way.
They make up less than 5% of female killers. Some call them black widows, and their motive is money.
I wouldn't have killed him because that would be cutting off my nose to spite my face.
In this film, we meet 2 women convicted of extraordinary crimes. But even against compelling evidence, they deny all guilt.
I honestly can't look at you and believe a word that's come out of your mouth. You have lied and lied and lied and lied.
You can't tell me that I would kill a man in the only carpeted room in the house. I mean, come on, I'm a woman.
At the highest security women's prison in Texas resides one of the state's most notorious murderers, 53-year-old Celeste Beard Johnson.
I wish that I would have done a lot of things different. Yes, I do, but I finally, maybe within the last year, stopped beating myself up because I can't do anything about what happened.
In 2003, she was found guilty of killing her millionaire husband and sentenced to life in prison.
I just can't believe that I'm going to be stuck here for 40 years for something I didn't do. I mean, I just have to believe that that's not going to happen, because if I do, I might as well just die.
Celeste's story captured the imagination of the world's media and spawned 2 best-selling books. Susie Spencer spent 2 years researching one of them.
I combed through the medical records. I sat through the trial testimony, but I did not get the story of Celeste Beard until I met her. All of a sudden, I got it, because she's charming, she's fun, she's lively, and she tells you just enough truth mixed in with her lies that they become believable. She's fascinating.
A twisted Texas tale of greed, betrayal, and murder. The story of Celeste was a train wreck waiting to happen.
In 1993, 31-year-old Celeste Martinez moved to Austin with her 2 daughters and 3rd husband.
The 90s in Austin was like boom, high-tech times. Everywhere you would look, there were fancy restaurants opening up with big price tags. It was just money, 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 money everywhere.
It was during this boom time, Celeste found a waitressing job at the Austin Country Club, home to the city's new rich elite.
Celeste came to Texas, and Celeste wanted to be rich. At Austin Country Club, I think that she thought that there probably was a wealthy man that she could hook.
One of the club's most affluent customers was Stephen Beard, a 69-year-old TV tycoon worth over $12 million.
I was attracted to him. I would talk to him, he would talk to me. I remember everybody would be scared to wait on Stephen's table because he was, getting drunk and loud and demanding, and they were all scared of him, but I wasn't.
Within 6 months, Celeste had left her husband and moved in with Stephen Beard.
All of a sudden, Beard's got this girlfriend. And me and some of other Steve's friends, we'd say, Steve, tell me about your new girlfriend. And he'd go, house manager, God damn it, house manager. So, he considered her his house manager.
In February 1995, Stephen and Celeste were married.
All of Steve's friends knew that this woman was a charade. It wasn't real. But who's going to tell Steve that? It all came down to money. I mean, that's what she wanted.
When she moved in, Stephen Beard agreed to give Celeste her own monthly allowance.
$35,000 a month. That was my stipend. But that's a lot of money. And he said I could spend it however I wanted. I would have diamonds. I had over $500,000 in jewelry. Furs, I had 26 fur coats.
She developed an insatiable thirst for more. This woman who didn't have $10 to spend on anything was spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on nothing.
He didn't care because he was enjoying his life. And if he got mad at me about spending too much money, it didn't last very long.
But Stephen Beard was getting concerned. After 2 years, he gave Celeste a final chance to control her spending. He replaced her allowance with a trust fund of $500,000. Within 6 months, even that was gone.
She was burning through it. And when he tried to get her to see, she rebelled against that. And she decided that if he was going to put limits on it, he had to die, which is just absolutely insane.
Ambulance location of emergency. Hello?
I need an ambulance, hurry. 3900 Solo Canyon Road. My guts just came out of my stomach.
Out of here.
They blew out. Yeah, they blew out of my stomach.
Hey, sir,
I'm in awful pain.
how did this happen?
From the beginning, you have to remember that there were a lot of things going on that night. And I recall when the police arrive on the scene, they can't get into the house, and they're banging on the doors, there's sirens going on outside. And when the police finally get inside the house, the crime scene had been set up to look like a robbery.
Inside, police found furniture overturned and drawers opened. Stephen was bleeding heavily from the abdomen. Celeste was by his side.
As the police dealt with her that night, her behavior was very strange. Celeste Beard sometimes seems to be fake crying, just crying when someone was looking at her. Then later on, she seemed to have no emotions whatsoever.
I was in shock. I mean, I was just in shock because they weren't telling me anything. I didn't know what was going on. I just knew that it was bad.
Stephen Beard was airlifted to hospital with severe abdominal injuries.
After Stephen Beard was taken to the hospital, one of the officers on the scene notices a shotgun shell on the floor.
A ballistics test on the shell led police to another woman, a friend of Celeste's called Tracy Talton.
As crazy as it sounds, Celeste was ultimately able to convince Tracy to murder Beard. She couldn't help herself. She wanted everything.
You know, it's just crazy. I loved him and I would never hurt somebody like that.
After 3 months in hospital, Stephen Beard finally died as a result of his injuries.
I still don't understand how she can be walking around. My biggest regret is ever bringing Tracy into our life.
This is what comes up when you Google me. Celeste.
59-year-old Tracy Talton has spent 10 years in prison for shooting and killing Stephen Beard. She's serving the remaining 12 years of her sentence on parole.
I think that some people believe that this could never happen to them. But I can absolutely tell you that I would have told you I would never kill somebody at one point, you know, and I did.
Tracy and Celeste met in March 1999 at St. David's, a top Austin psychiatric hospital. Both women were receiving treatment for depression.
You know, at the time that I met Celeste, I was at a very low ebb. I was ripe for the picking, you know.
Her husband, Stephen Beard, he asked her to quit spending so much money. When she refused, he threatened to divorce her, and that's when she started faking these suicidal attempts.
In St. David's, she was, you know, really vivacious and fun and funny. She was kind of the belle of the ball. You know, I was attracted to her energy. One night she came into my room and you know, kissed me. As time progressed, we became friendlier and friendlier, you know, closer and closer. We sort of entered into the beginnings of an affair.
It wasn't like that. The truth is, I felt sorry for her. She couldn't even tie her own shoes. She was so medicated.
I mean, she said you had a relationship.
Well, that's not true. No, and I didn't hang around her as much as she wants everybody to believe that I did.
They had couples counseling. Friends don't go to a counselor to get couples counseling. They were taking trips together. There were love letters exchanged. Celeste Beard had gotten a ring, and she gave that ring to Tracy Talton.
We go back now and we realize Celeste was doing exactly what Celeste does, manipulate. The really scary part is how she projected into the future how this whole thing could work out.
One day, she explained to me that she had married this man, but she said that from the get-go that he was psychologically abusive to her. That's why she was in St. David's, that, you know, she felt suicidal around him. He used to tell her that she was just crazy and she ought to just go ahead and kill herself. At the time, you know, I believed that he was a monster. and that she was his victim.
She's nurturing her. I love you. You know, I just want to be together with you. Steve's killing me. I can't live like this.
Over several months, Celeste conspired with Tracy to try and murder her husband.
You know, she had a gun to her head, basically, saying, do this or I'm gonna kill myself. And I believed her. I believed her at the time.
Tracy tried to help Celeste kill Steve several times. She made up a batch of botulism to poison Steve that Celeste put in his chili cheese dog.
She finally asked me to shoot him, and I said, no, I'm not gonna shoot him. What do you mean, shoot him? I mean, I was shocked and resistant, but it became more and more pressing for her, and she became more and more threatening about it, and I finally thought, if he doesn't die, she's gonna die. And I said I would do it. She formulated the plan and told me what it was. There were phone calls about it. She told me what to wear, you know, dark clothes, dark hoodie. Said that I would come over about 3 o'clock. She would sleep in the girls' bedroom down the hall. She would leave his door unlocked. I'd parked where she told me to park, walked along the side of the house. As I was walking up to the house, I stopped at one point and just pressed myself against the wall, thinking, I can't do this. You know, I can't do this. And then thinking, you have to do this.
Tracy's a damaged soul. All she wanted to do was to be loved. And she thought Celeste Beard truly loved her. This is the woman I love. This is the woman who cares about me. I've got to save her.
The door was open to the bedroom. She told me to shoot him in the stomach. She said she didn't want to have to redecorate. And she said she would pick up the shell. Don't worry about the shell. You know, I constantly can't believe that I did it. But I did.
I've sat knee to knee to several killers. And Tracy's the only one I walked away from admiring and respecting. If you hear her story, she didn't have a chance. God, it was sad.
To shoot somebody for a charlatan. I don't think it says much about me.
I mean, it's just crazy. How does she walk around and function every day knowing her lies got me put in here for life?
So why did she kill Stephen?
She said so we could be together at my lake house. I just wish she would tell the truth. I wish she'd have a conscience. And I feel that that's why she got breast cancer. I feel like that was her karma.
So-called black widows like Celeste tend to murder their husbands or lovers, but their victims aren't always as familiar. In the state of Florida, a woman is serving a life sentence for killing a stranger she befriended for his money. Like Celeste, Doris D.D. Moore denies all guilt.
I used to think that everybody that was in prison deserved to be here for whatever they were here for, and that we had a bunch of murderers that we needed to keep out of society, and there were a bunch of bad people here. But I learned that there are a lot of people here for stupid reasons.
In 2012, Dee Dee Moore was found guilty of murdering a man who'd won $30 million on the lottery. The verdict was unanimous.
In my case, none of my facts came out, or I would not be here. If my facts came out, I would have never got convicted.
I've been in law enforcement for just over 18 years now, and of all the suspects, defendants, individuals that I've encountered, there will never be another defendant like Dee Dee Moore. She's a pathological liar.
Dee Dee Moore is a very slick individual. She knew what she was doing. She was very charismatic. She was intelligent, but she was also greedy. And her web of spinning lies caught up with her.
In 2006, a truck driver from a poor neighborhood in Central Florida bought a jackpot-winning lottery ticket. His name was Abraham Shakespeare.
When Shakespeare won the lottery, the entire community really won the lottery. He bought homes for people. He paid for funerals. He purchased vehicles. He was Lakeland's stimulus package.
News of Shakespeare's generosity spread. Before long, queues of people looking for handouts formed outside his new $1 million mansion.
You got to remember, he was overwhelmed with people who were saying, give me, let me have. You know what I mean? I need this, I need that. You know what I mean? My dog has been hit, my child is in the hospital, my rent is due, my lights is off. At some point in time, he had got to the point of being aggravated with calls and the bombarding of people.
I really would like my old life back where I could walk the streets like a normal person, but got people coming up asking for money.
It was at this time that Dee Dee Moore heard about Shakespeare's story. She was the founder of a successful recruitment agency and introduced herself, offering to solve his financial problems.
Here's a lady who says she's wealthy, who stands above the normal poor black folks. Now you have somebody who's saying, I don't need you, I can help you. I'm here for you. I can do things for you that other people can't. She's very smart.
Claiming she was protecting his wealth, Dee Dee started transferring Abraham's assets into her name.
Well, it started with the BMW, the 750. It went from Abraham's name into hers, then the house, then his money, and I think it was like about 3.7 million. All of his wealthy belongings was being transferred to her.
I had money. I didn't need money like this. I had plenty of money. I had money.
So what's wrong with having a bit more money?
I'm not greedy like that, and I could make as much money as I wanted and Abraham was worth more to me alive than dead.
You get tired of people asking you for money all the time, Abe?
They don't take no for an ounce or so. And just let them keep on asking.
Mm-hmm.
With control of Shakespeare's property, Dee Dee then made a video that could later act as the perfect alibi.
So where do you want to go to?
It don't matter to me. I'm not a picky person.
California. You want a foreign country?
She knew she wanted to kill the man. That's why all that was filmed. That wasn't filmed just for the looks. It was filmed for part of the plan.
Are you gonna miss your home?
Yep, I miss it, but life goes on.
Just weeks after this video was made, Abraham Shakespeare disappeared without a trace.
Have you seen this millionaire? His name is Abraham Shakespeare.
It was at this convenience store that Abraham Shakespeare bought the lotto ticket that changed his life. But it's a life that officials now fear may have ended in foul play.
Over the next 7 months, police continually looked to Dee Dee Moore for answers.
He is gone, okay?
He is missing. He wants to be missing.
7 months ago, he has not had a word to anyone.
He wants to be missing.
She told different people that he was on a cruise. One story she provided was in the Bahamas on a vacation. Another story she had mentioned that he was somewhere in the Caribbean receiving treatment for AIDS.
He wanted to pretend he was dying of AIDS so that he doesn't have to pay child support and people won't look for him if he's dying of AIDS.
Why didn't he tell anybody else that?
Mental.
Did he?
You're not gonna believe me. You're gonna think I really freaking hurt this man.
I honestly can't look at you and believe a word that's come out of your mouth. You have lied and lied and lied and lied. Where's he at? Please, Didi.
She was very arrogant and cocky. Obviously, it wasn't going to work, but I think in her mind, she thought that she could continue to pull one over on us.
By now, police were convinced of Dee Dee's involvement, but would need concrete evidence for an arrest. In early 2010, the county sheriff ordered a trap with the help of undercover cop Mike Smith.
They suspected she was involved in something. They was pretty confident that she was the one responsible. My thing was to get her to admit, yeah, he's dead. This is where he is. We wanted to get a body.
Smith posed as a jail-bound drug dealer willing to take the rap for Abraham's murder in exchange for $50,000. When he met Dee Dee in a downtown car park, he was wearing a wire and they were under close surveillance.
This situation has gotten big. I'm in over my head.
Oh, we can do this, but I'm gonna need a body.
Why would you do that, though, for me?
I'm going anyhow. I'm going anyhow.
If you do this, you're gonna be a very popular person. You're gonna be a legend.
They set me up. If you listen to the tape, he manipulates me. People say no. Listen to the tape. You will see him manipulate me.
Once I go in here and confess to this shit, they done with you. Because they definitely gonna want the fucking body.
Okay. Deal. Like I said, I know there's a body. I'll fix everything where he's at and everything. And then, what do you want?
50 grand.
Okay.
Four days later, Dee Dee led undercover police directly to Abraham's burial place, underneath a concrete slab in Woodland, just behind one of her houses.
If I would have known he was in my yard, don't you think that, why would I lead him back there? Do you think I'm really that stupid? Do I look really that stupid of a person do I look that stupid? That's what people make me think. Do you think I'm that ignorant? Do you think that if I knew that man was dead in my property, I wanted to know what they did to him? I wanted to know. I kept looking.
It always feels like, I'm coming home when I come back to Austin. But, the memories everywhere, both good and bad memories.
After spending 10 years in prison for her part in the murder of Stephen Beard, Tracy Tarleton rarely returns to her hometown.
Just as we've been driving along here, we passed by the house where I was living when this crime occurred. We passed by the hospital. It creeps up on me to realize, how much I've lost.
Since she was released from prison 5 years ago, Tracy struggled to adapt to a life on the outside.
I've lost a lot of friends, but the fact that I have lost so many friends makes the friends that have stuck by me all that much more important. So I sort of traded quantity for quality in a way. Joan?
Hey!
Hey! Nice to see you.
It's good to see you too.
Watch the kitty.
Watch the kitty. Hi, Rupert. Hi. Rupert, look who's here. It's Aunt Tracy.
Roopie doop. Here's the you know, glory days.
Yeah, here we are, the Austin American statesman, Celeste. God, I think she's just one manipulative, evil fucking bitch. Can I say that?
Well, you just did.
Just a black widow. Just cunning and calculating.
Mm-hmm.
That whole time that she was pretending like, not that she didn't love you.
Oh,
because I think
didn't
she
love
did.
me. No,
Well,
she didn't.
well,
She
all
did
right.
not.
Yeah.
I mean, it was all
I
ruse.
want to believe that.
Well, Joan,
a little.
I know, but it's
the whole
just
time.
impossible. It was a ruse.
Tracy had taken responsibility for Stephen Beard's murder, but a newspaper article about her ex-lover Celeste getting married made her think again.
It was a short period of time since we had ended it, and it became starkly clear just in an instant. She had lied to me, I had been manipulated, I had believed her, and I had shot this guy. Now, I knew, for no reason but for his money.
With this realization, Tracy approached state prosecutors and offered to testify against Celeste in return for a shorter sentence.
The eyes of Austin, Texas are on one place: the courthouse where Celeste Beard is about to go on trial for the murder of her husband, Steve.
This was a tremendous story in the media. You have this millionaire. He was murdered by his wife's lesbian lover. You have the issues of money, you have the issues of sex, you have some madness involved in this case. You have all that swirled in with family conflict. It's almost like something William Shakespeare would have written about.
The most powerful impression is made by Celeste herself, who enters the courtroom to gasps of surprise.
They open the door and she comes in, hobbles in on these crutches.
I fainted in the county hospital and my foot stuck to the concrete. And so when I spun around, I got a spiral fracture in my tibia.
Right before the trial started, I believe a doctor wanted to take the cast off. And she said, wait, don't. Let me talk to my attorney first. It was like she thought that cast would get sympathy.
Having inherited millions from her husband, Celeste was able to fund a first-class defense team.
Celeste's lawyer, Dick DeGuerin, is famous for his high-profile clients like Robert Durst and the Branch Davidians.
Well, I got a call, and she was in jail and she needed help.
He's the #1 lawyer in Texas. I paid over $2 million in legal fees.
We believe sincerely in Celeste's innocence. I found her very pleasant. She is intelligent. She was adamant about how she had not had anything to do with Stephen's death.
The prosecution's star witness was Tracy Tulton.
Show us how you shot him.
I walked down to the end of the bed and I saw him and I pulled up and I shot him.
What did you say about her suggestion that she shoot Steve Beard?
I said, I want to do this. She said, and there's nothing left. You know, I might as well just take it right now and shoot myself. And I said, fine, let's go. I'll do it.
But just as powerful was testimony from Celeste's own daughters, who told the court how she treated her husband.
I mean, she called him a fat fuck. That's what was the main thing she called him a pig. And she talked about how she hoped that Stephen Beard would just die. Why didn't he just die? So she could go on living the kind of life that she wanted to live without him.
He let you into his home, loved you, honored, obeyed you, and you've murdered him. You are guilty.
The fact that those girls testified against their own mother is huge because they realized finally what she actually was. She was a cold, calculated person who pushed people to their limits.
Christina, what are you saying by deliberately...
But it was a series of phone calls recorded by her daughters that lifted a veil on Celeste's manipulative ways.
To hear her threaten them constantly, repeatedly, through tape after tape after tape. And then to have a tape where Celeste says, calmly, I hired someone to kill Tracy.
The call was manipulated, it was altered. They didn't even play the rest of the phone calls or the whole thing.
That is your voice talking on the phone, is
Well,
that
yes, it is.
You heard her. It was edited. It doesn't matter what the facts are to Celeste.
Do you think she'll ever admit what she's done?
No. She does not strike me as the kind of person that would ever take responsibility for her actions. I think that she was just, by nature, a cruel, manipulative person.
Celeste was raised in Southern California.
When she was a baby, she cried a lot. And she wasn't a happy child.
She was adopted by Nancy when she was just 4 days old.
I just think she was confused. I don't know. I just don't know. She just cried. Are you going to say that I'm responsible for the way she turned out? No. It's inside of her that's the problem.
Celeste and her mother haven't always been close and didn't speak for many years.
I apologize for the way I keep going in and out of your life. This letter is extremely hard for me to write. It has taken me almost a year to have the courage to tell you my true feelings. I am so tired of bearing everything so deep inside of me. I hurt and I try to pretend I don't. I don't really know how you feel about me. I guess I never have. I miss you and I am sorry about all of this. I wish I could have been a better daughter. I love you, Celeste.
Oh, I had a wonderful childhood. I was raised by a wonderful mom. My mom was a saint compared to most mothers.
So you've got a strong moral compass?
Yes, yes, absolutely. You know, we didn't get beat or whipped or anything like that. She made you put yourself in somebody else's shoes. How would you feel if they did that to you, or, you know, stuff like that.
Authorities in Florida have filed first-degree murder charges against Doris Dee Dee Moore in connection with the death of Abraham Shakespeare.
The Hillsborough County office says the remains do belong to the missing lottery winner. They found Shakespeare's body buried under a concrete slab.
On January the 28th, 2010, the remains of missing lottery winner Abraham Shakespeare were unearthed on Dee Dee Moore's property. What they discovered showed how far she had gone to conceal the crime.
He was found buried pretty deep, about 9 feet below the surface. He was in a pair of red denim jeans, kind of a bomber-style jacket and a white t-shirt, but he was missing the shoes that he had on, and also all metal from the jacket, to include the zippers, and the buttons and zippers in his jeans were cut out. She had removed those to avoid metal detection.
The evidence against Dee Dee was damning. 2 bullets that matched her gun were found in Shakespeare's chest. His blood was on her carpet, and the digger used to dig the hole found in nearby storage. Dee Dee was immediately brought in for questioning.
You don't protect me. You won't just tell me. You don't care if I'm killed. You don't care. You don't think it's a big deal. You think I've done this. You think I took a gun and shot somebody.
Dee Dee, look at the bright side. If you can convince me, you can convince anybody.
But you think I took a gun and shot
Am
this
I right?
man.
If you can convince me, you can convince anyone.
I have a homicide in my county, and I have a body recovered, obviously. And I have a pretty good idea of what happened. Now it's time to lay it out.
I did not kill that man.
I interviewed her, basically confronting her. We sat with her for probably 3+ hours.
Now Dee Dee had a new story, that Abraham was killed in a drug deal gone wrong.
2 murderous thugs killed Abraham Shakespeare, but they're going to leave you, a witness, alive.
Dee Dee said Abraham pulled a gun on one of the dealers, and a man called Ronald shot him.
When confronted with the fact that the projectiles taken out of his body matched the firearm that she owned and purchased, she then changed the story that her safe was open and this drug dealer, Ronald, was able to grab this firearm. She would change her story on the spot. She would almost lose herself in the statements that she was providing. You can almost see the wheels turning in her head. She would look off into space and then come up with another excuse. Ronald didn't exist. It was a made-up character.
You try to tell the cops these people exist and they laugh at you. They think you're crazy.
Dee Dee Moore blamed everybody for the murder of Abraham Shakespeare except herself. She said that this fictitious drug dealer did it, the undercover officer did it, and even her own son.
Dee Dee, this isn't one you can talk your way out of.
Police have their own version of what happened to Abraham Shakespeare.
We feel on the night of April 6, 2009, Abraham started to confront Dee Dee Moore about not having the money accessible to him. And the confrontation ensues, and ultimately he's shot and killed over the money.
Are you gonna miss your home?
Yep, I miss it, but life goes on.
We found his remains still in the same clothing that he was last seen in a video that she had recorded.
Dee Dee, it's all over. It's all over.
Dee Dee Moore will spend the rest of her life in prison after a jury handed down their verdict. Moore is guilty of killing Abraham Shakespeare to get and keep his lottery winnings.
On the 10th of December 2012, Dee Dee Moore was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole.
You're probably the most manipulative person that this court has seen. Abraham Shakespeare was your prey and your victim. Money was the root of the evil that you brought to Abraham.
I'm not a manipulator type person. I didn't deserve this. Being charged with something I didn't do. I was really innocent, so I was really upset with him.
Since being in prison, Dee Dee has changed her story again.
How did Abraham die? Who killed him?
I don't know how Abraham died. I know what it says in the police report, but I really wasn't there.
It is said in the Bible, in the book of Timothy, that money is the root of all evil. People loved her, but all she loved was money. When you boil it down to the bare essence of why this offense occurred, why Stephen Beard was killed, it was all about her love of money. That's all she cared about.
Celeste Beard Johnson's trial had lasted for 4 weeks. On the 19th of March 2003, the verdict was finally delivered.
I think this case is a clear example that no matter how much money you have, no matter how great an attorney you may be able to hire, money can't buy your way out of everything.
State versus Celeste Beard Johnson. Verdict of the jury. Verdict form 1, capital murder. We, the jury, find the defendant, Celeste Beard Johnson, guilty of the offense of capital murder.
You look at all the people who she harmed in this, destroyed Tracy Tarleton's life. In some sense, destroyed the lives of her kids. Stephen Beard had children also, and grandkids. We never should have had to put up with her and her manipulation and machinations. She's now where she belongs, away from us.
Come here, Mike. It doesn't do me any good to, hate Celeste or to wish bad things on Celeste. And it's just so typical of her to, you know, gloat over the fact that, you know, I had breast cancer. I mean that's kind of Celeste in a nutshell right there.
Celeste has been locked up for 14 years. One of her only contacts on the outside is her mother.
This is the call.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah, how are you doing?
I'm all right. I'm just tired. Still, you know, we had a hanging a couple weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. Cut her wrist and then hung herself.
Did she die?
No, she's okay, but the other one died.
Oh, I see. Well, just be careful.
I will. All right. I love you.
I love you too.
Bye, Mom.
Bye-bye.
The caller has hung up.
I don't think Celeste would, I mean, sure, she might kill herself. She might hurt herself. That's always been her. She'd hurt herself, but she never had hurt anything else.
Do you think Celeste ever lied?
No, I don't think she's ever lied to me particularly. I don't think so.
If you go back and look at their relationship, Celeste said terrible things about her mother. But now, Celeste is at a point in her life, who does she have? The Beards aren't going to be there, her children aren't going to be there. So who does she have? Her mother?
What's your biggest fear?
Of being alone in here. And that my children will never forgive me for not being the mother that they needed me to be. But I'm not a murderer, and I know that they know deep down inside that I did not participate. And I hope someday that they will forgive me.
Celeste will be eligible for parole in 2043, when she'll be 80 years old. If she doesn't admit her guilt, she'll spend the rest of her life behind bars.